Hello, this is Elliott, apparently. Um, so I wanted to talk about a few things today. It's been a while since my last video, so there's a couple things I'm gonna cover. Um, so I've gotten to the point now where I am going to ask a few people close to me to start using male pronouns and to start calling me Elliott. It's not going to be very many people. I don't have a very large, intimate friend circle, and I don't want to just jump into it and have everybody start calling me Elliot and things like that, just because, it seems like a big hassle. So we're going to start small and sort of work our way out, I guess, see how things feel and how that goes. So far, pretty good. It's only been a day, so not a lot of time for me to feel one way or the other. Still feeling pretty good overall, pretty optimistic, pretty happy about things, which is unusual for me. So taking it as a good sign. We're just going to keep going in that direction. I had my first therapy session with a gender therapist. Oh gosh, about 3 weeks ago at this point. I have my second session this week on Thursday. The first session went really well. I really like the guy. He's cool. He's easy to talk to. I have a really hard time articulating what I'm trying to say when it comes to gender stuff and dealing with all of that. So he's patient, which is important, and I like him a lot. We've gone through not very many things. The first few sessions are usually just sort of an introductory, getting to know you kind of thing, but we've already touched on a few things, and he validated a few things for me. So being able to bounce ideas off of somebody who knows what they're talking about has been really helpful. It's helping me actually like solidify what I'm trying to do here and where I need to go. So hopefully we'll have more of that and more progress. And I'm really excited for the session this week. And I've been to several therapists my whole life, and I've never actually been excited for a therapy appointment. So taking that as a really good sign also. What else? I'm pretty much dressing male 100% of the time now. I don't always wear a binder because it's still really hot, and I already have issues as it is with low blood pressure and being short of breath and chest pains and things of that nature, cause of which has not really been figured out yet. So when it's really hot out, I don't wear a binder. I'll either wear a really loose fitting bra, or I just won't wear a bra at all, which is a whole special thing because, big chest and all that stuff, and they kind of just go woo all over the place when I'm not wearing a bra. And man, a couple years ago you couldn't have paid me to go outside without wearing a fucking bra because of how crazy mortifying it was to me. But these days I don't really give a shit anymore. I know people stare and look at me, but it's comfortable, so fuck off. As the weather cools down, I'm hoping to wear the binder more often, which I think will help with a lot of things, and just sort of building up a tolerance to being able to wear it more and for longer periods of time. What else? I've been swimming this summer, but I only have a one-piece women's bathing suit. And that wasn't really a problem for me because when I go swimming, it's usually just with Kian and no one else is around, and it's nighttime. So it didn't bother me so much. But suddenly it did. Like, suddenly it bothered me and I didn't want to wear it anymore. So I got not a binder, because you're not really supposed to wear a binder in the swimming pool. I just got a compression shirt that I folded up a couple times, and then just put a t-shirt over that and got some board shorts, and I've been swimming in that, and it's definitely weird to be swimming with so many clothes on. It feels like I fell out of a boat or something, but it's more comfortable than wearing a one-piece women's swimsuit in the pool, so hooray. I also got invited to a genderific trans pool party that a few of my friends were throwing, and I was really excited to go immediately, which is unusual for me too, because I don't like public things. I don't like parties. I don't like, and there were going to be people there that I know online, but I've never actually met in person. So it was a big thing for me, like an anxiety overcoming thing. The fact that I was so excited to go that it didn't even really bother me as much as it normally would have to interact with what is essentially a bunch of new people, a bunch of strangers. I took Liam with me as sort of a, I guess, a security blanket friend, emotional support thing. That, and I just thought that he would really get along with all of these people. And it turns out I'm not the only person in that group that has social anxiety, because the whole time we were there were like 3 other people max, so really small group. And it was awesome. I'm just floating around in my like full outfit of clothes, and Liam's got his like swimsuit on because he's finally got a swimsuit that he can wear. And just chilling out with a bunch of transy, queer people. It was kind of awesome. So I'm glad I did that, and sort of looking forward to doing more things of that nature as time goes on, and I'm finding myself less crippled by social anxiety and not being able to go outside and not being able to interact with people. It's improvement has been remarkable, in my opinion. I'm still not entirely sure how other people view that, but I can tell for sure that I'm a lot less scared to be outside, to be at the grocery store, to be, you know, in a group of people at a party, things like that. Still working on the whole bar thing, as far as going back to this bar that I used to hang out with people all the time, but none of those people know about my whatever the fuck is happening. They don't know about any of that. So all they've seen is just me suddenly cutting my hair and wearing guy clothes, and there were some snarky comments made, and I didn't appreciate it. So I just kind of stopped going for a while. But I'm getting over that also. I went again with Liam and one of his friends and Kian for a few hours. Probably a week or 2 ago at this point, and it went well, so getting back into that whole thing. Oh, I went to my very first political rally activist event thing. I consider myself pretty active online as far as social activism and things like that. Kind of honestly, the anxiety thing makes me a keyboard warrior, which is fine. You know, I still think it's better than nothing, and fuck you. And so I actually went physically to a fucking Black Trans Lives Matter rally that happened a few weeks ago. I went with Cynthia, who is someone that I used to date that I don't date anymore, but we're friends. That's also a whole thing. But we went to that, and that was an experience. I've never been in it wasn't a huge group, it was maybe 50 people, maybe. I've never been to anything like it before. I've never really been in such a large crowd of people that I didn't know anybody there except for the ones I brought with me. And people actually like coming up to me and interacting with me and talking to me and starting conversations with me. Normally that sort of thing would freak me out and I would have left, but I stayed for the whole thing. I was excited to be there. I was happy to meet people and talk to people. and I exchanged like Facebook information with a couple of them, and I've seen a couple of them since then, and so that's a whole new thing for me. Um, I'm still, this was before I decided, or I was advised, that I really need to start working on social transitioning before anything else, which is a good idea, honestly. If I were left to my own devices, I would probably seriously just go through medical transition and just never tell anybody anything, and they would just have to fucking figure it out somehow on their own, because that's just how I roll. So, given good advice to sort of do it in a way that's less jarring and probably less alienating to the people around me, and my hair's going. I just took a shower, so my hair's drying and being really weird. Um, this was before I decided to start doing the name pronouns swap over. So I introduced myself with my birth name, and which felt weird, honestly. When people asked me what my name was, I wanted to say Elliott, but I still felt weird about it. Um, I'm in this weird sort of in-between space where I feel like Elliott doesn't completely belong to me yet. Like it's not mine. I'm trying it on. I feel like I'm just borrowing it from somebody right now. I sort of feel like that Elliott is like a person separate from me completely, and that I'm not him yet. Like, I feel like he's where I'm going. That's a goal that I'm headed towards, and I feel like that one day I will be him. But right now, I'm just sort of floundering around and trying to figure out where my own ass is at this point. So, eh. I introduced myself with my birth name, and I regretted it, honestly. Also, Cynthia being with me, I hadn't talked to her yet about that whole thing. So I felt like it would have been awkward if I introduced myself with this new name and she's just like, what? So I'm gonna sort that whole thing out, and it should be a pretty easy fix as far as reintroducing myself to the people I met that day and talking to Cynthia about it, things like that. Pretty excited about that whole prospect. Focusing on things that are exciting to me, such as actually getting people to refer to me and to see me as a masculine person. That's exciting. And thinking about that sort of helps distract me from things that give me anxiety, things I won't have to worry about yet, like having to talk to my boss about it, having to talk to my parents about it. I think this is good practice. Like, this is going to be good practice, is having these conversations with people that are already kind of aware of what's going on, and people that I know are not going to react poorly. So just sort of getting in some practice with that, and going to sort of broaden the knowledge circle as we go along. What else? I had my first case of like bathroom panic a few weeks ago, which is new to me, and I'm not entirely sure how to deal with it. It hasn't come up again since. I have never really liked public bathrooms. I think they're weird, just in general. I think it's weird that you just get in a big room with a bunch of other people and pee at the same time. So it's kind of something I've always avoided, which may or may not be a transy thing, and it may or may not just be a social anxiety thing. I've got like bathroom issues as is. Like, I don't like people coming in the bathroom with me and shit. Like even boyfriends and girlfriends and shit. Some people will like share a bath. Oh God, no, that's weird. So something I usually avoid, and at work, it's not a problem most of the time because there are just single room unisex bathrooms. There's one right across the hall from my office. There's several of them within a floor or two of me. So those are usually, you know, accessible. But one day I was leaving work. I was kind of in a hurry. I was like, okay, I'll just use the bathroom that's closest to the parking garage. It won't be a big deal. But that's a group, like, gendered bathroom. It's a fairly big one also. I hop in there, and every single stall is occupied, which there's like 8 or 9 of them. It seems kind of ridiculous to me that every single stall was taken up, and they're in this big long line, and the doors don't hang open when they're empty. So the only way to see if there's someone in the stall is to actually walk down this aisle and look for feet, which is fucking weird also. So I did that. I walked all the way down and saw that there were feet in every stall, including the handicap stall, and I was like, fuck. So came back up to where the sinks were and just sort of stood there like you do in the women's restroom, where you just kind of stand there and wait for a fucking stall to open up. Stood there for a while, waiting, and I caught sight of myself in the mirrors, and I just suddenly felt panic. I just felt like, whoa, I really should not be in here. This is not right. This is not correct. I shouldn't be in this bathroom. I'm like really butchy looking and masculine, and all these other women are wearing high heels and shit. And I was just like, oh, I'm creepy. I'm a fucking creep hanging out in the ladies' room. So I just left immediately before, you know, anyone could see me, and went out of my way to try and go find a unisex single stall bathroom, which I did. But that's something I've never had happen to me before. It was completely different from the usual being uncomfortable in a public restroom sort of thing. I just felt like I really did not belong in there, and that I was creepy for just trying to pee. So that's a bit of a conundrum for me at this point, because I don't pass at all with anybody. So I'm not going to be using the men's room anytime soon. Not to mention the fact that I'm really scared of men's rooms, because men they're predatory and they're violent, and there's been so many cases of things happening to trans men in bathrooms. Just people I know personally have told me some horror stories of things that have happened to them when they're just trying to use the fucking bathroom. So I'm just going to have to work something out there. Like, I can't go my whole life without ever using a public restroom. I know that's not possible, but I'm just gonna have to figure it out one way or the other. For now, I really think the only option is to just suck up my anxiety and just use the women's room, because though I feel like I don't belong in there, I also don't think that any women would look at me and think I didn't belong in there either. Not at this point. So just gonna have to coast through that for a bit until something new develops. What else? It's been a few weeks. Normally these videos are a lot longer. I feel like there's a lot of information in this video, but it's a lot shorter, which is fine. Okay. So, that's really it, honestly. Oh, God. Forgot something else about this trans rally that I went to. It was mostly for black trans women in general, because so many of them have been murdered this year that it's fucking atrocious. So we're there, and there's a lot of trans people at this rally, a lot of allies. At one point, they were asking people to raise their hand over certain things, like raise your hand if you're a trans woman, raise your hand if you're an ally. And they said, raise your hand if you're a trans man, and I didn't raise my hand because there was only like one other trans man, and he was way over on the other side, and I just didn't want a bunch of people staring at me. So, that's not really something that I would consider as being like being afraid to talk about it. That's more the social anxiety of I don't want a whole bunch of strangers staring at me suddenly in a crowd. That's horrific. But later, the organizer specifically asked all the trans people to separate from the crowd and go stand in their own little circle for like a demonstration thing he was doing. He was making a metaphor, I guess. But I did that. I actually went over with all the other trans people and I stood in their little group, and I was wearing a t-shirt that has a giant trans symbol on it. So, oh God, what's happening? So, yeah, outed myself to a bunch of strangers, which is a really big step for me. And not only that, but there were news cameras there, and it was recorded, and I made it onto both news segments that were filmed there. So I'm there, and I'm totally just out, and I got this big old trans shirt on, and I'm standing in a group of trans people, and shit. I mean, I don't know. I kind of consider that diving right the fuck in, because I have no idea who saw any of those videos. Uh, I don't know. A lot of people could know at this point. Oh, and during this rally, one of my friends from the bar that I've been avoiding was walking her dog and walked past the group and saw me there. And then when the rally was over, she was walking back the other way with her dog and stopped and talked to me and asked, "What is this? What is this whole thing? Blah, blah, blah." And I'm wearing a big old trans shirt. And so, fuck. But she's totally cool. So, you know, she went home and then friended me on her second Facebook account where she only keeps the cool people. So I consider that a win. Of all the strange people, or of all the bar people that could have walked by during that rally, she was definitely the best one. And I'm glad that it was her and not anyone else. So, so far, over the past few weeks, except for that bathroom panic thing, everything's been pretty awesome. Friends have been really supportive. Kian's been really supportive. Things are still kind of like, we are, I feel like we're both sort of traversing this like new place that neither of us have ever been before. And it's not necessarily a negative thing, it's just a new thing, and neither of us really know what we're doing. And we're just trying to be the best that we can be and trying to be supportive of each other without neglecting our own, you know, personal needs and whatnot. So far, it's been fairly good, actually. Just a few snags here and there, but nothing I would consider really catastrophic. The same sort of thing I would really expect from any long-term partner when dealing with what is essentially a really big change. I wouldn't say it's like a crisis or a trauma or anything like that, but it's definitely a big life change, and it's a big event, and I sort of feel like it's the same sort of couple crap you would be dealing with any other really large life event. But so far it's all been pretty good. I'm just trying to do things the correct way. Trying to do things in a way that is easiest for me and for the people around me, but mostly for me, because this shit's about me and I'm the most important one. So, the baby steps thing is working out. I'm not very good at baby steps and stuff. I tend to just like, woo, jump right the fuck in with everything I do in my life. So I've actually really had to rein it in here and restrain myself as far as transition things go. Right now, we're just going to focus on getting comfortable with calling myself Elliott, asking people to call me Elliott, asking people to use male pronouns, even though I do not pass at all. So we'll see how that goes as I broaden the circle outwards and start asking stuff like that of people that don't hang out with me very often or don't know me very well. And when that starts happening, I'm going to have to talk to my family about it, because I am friends with a shitload of family members on Facebook, and they are all gossipy as hell. So if any of them figure out what's happening, they're going to immediately call my mom, and that's something I really don't want to get to her secondhand. Like, I want to tell her. I just need to figure out when to do it and how to do it. And that's especially difficult considering that they live in a completely different state from me, and we get along, but we still don't talk very often. We haven't spoken on the phone in like a year, and we email each other maybe once a month at this point. So honestly, I'm probably just gonna have to tell them through an email, because I am awful talking on the phone. I can't understand anybody, and I don't have the money to fly up there and tell them in person. I would prefer to tell them in person, but I can't afford to do that. It's not very feasible right now. So I feel like I'm just going to have to email them about it. And this is not the first time I've like given them big news through email, so not entirely unexpected. I'm not sure how they would react. I think they'd be all right eventually, but there's probably going to be that initial adjustment period of what? Oh my god, what's happening? Typical. So we'll see. Also, I guess I should tell my brother about this, huh? Maybe. He'll figure it out eventually. We're friends on Facebook. My brother would probably be the least surprised out of everyone in my whole family that this is going on. So, but for now, gonna focus on micro changes, such as being able to actually say out loud, hey, I'm trans. Hey, my name is Elliott. That's kind of the first time I've really been able to say that without being like, I'm transy, or I'm just gender weird. I don't know, maybe. No, like, I need to just be like, look, I know this is happening. I've known this is happening for a while. I've known it. I've just been afraid to say it, because once you say things, then shit has to happen, which it's going to happen anyway. There's just something about quantifying things and saying it out loud that's really like permanent for me. So get over it, I guess. I'm gonna have to suck it up. It's fine. It's fine. This is fine. There's been other like relationship life changes, but none of them are really trans related, so I don't really feel like I need to get into that right now. My whole relationship group dynamic has changed quite a bit, and I feel like a few months ago it would have been really devastating for me to lose these relationships and to have everything change so quickly and so dramatically. But at this point, I don't want to say I don't give a shit, because I do, but I'm okay with it. It's fine. You know, shit happens. People move on. People lose connections with each other all the time, and it's not necessarily anybody's fault. You know, oh well, like, moving on. It was good, and then it wasn't good anymore. So, time to sort of, you know, sail away. So, yeah, things good. Overall, things very good. So, it's been about a half hour. And it's going to be a lot shorter after I trim it down. So, I'm going to end it now. I'm ending it. I'm ending it now. I'm ending it.